Hello guys and girls, it is I, Aaron Lee here, and I'm doing a YouTube video called Star Wars Update 11, Star Wars Battlefront News 3, Part 2, of the interview of the guy who's going to make this new Battlefront game. It's page 2 of the interview. And it says, do you think now is when your early investment in technology, specifically regarding Frostbite and Battlefield 4, that really pays off? The visual difference between your game and Call of Duty, for example, is significant. And Patrick said, yes. And I like that you say that. We have made a conscious decision to invest in technology. We decided to invest in Frostbite for two big reasons. One was we found ourselves in a position where we made a game and an engine at the same time. Every freaking time, and it's just hard work because you end up spending 50% of your time making an engine and 40% making a game. Ultimately, that's not the best idea, right? It's hard on the teams. You have to cut features. We can't get the best possible game enhanced for gamers. It's just painful. Give it a shot, Robert Chica. People will say, not there. People will say, why would you do something that stupid? Most developers in the past did it in that way. It's just how it worked. So the second reason was that in order for us to get better products, we need to spend more time in iteration to test new ideas and see what works. We had to be able to iterate on a new idea to make it great, and we needed more polish time on everything from UI to run cycles, audio. Everything needed to be a tighter experience. So we invested in Frostbite predominantly because we wanted a better pipeline, a better toolset, and an engine that was continuously evolving instead of just having to constantly make a new one. And then we were fortunate to have a cutting-edge rendering, animation, and audio team that said, we love this idea. We can stop working on games and work on engine instead. And they were full of enthusiasm for what they could do. Full of enthusiasm for what they could do. At the time, it was unusual to put arguably the best 35 programmers that we had on something that wasn't a game. That felt very awkward, frankly, but we did it. It was almost like a laboratory and experimental environment, and I gave them specific feedback that they could do whatever they wanted. I said, do what you think is right. Do what you think is the best possible technology solution. But think about innovation and stuff that will make gamers' jaws drop. So that was how we started it, and then we went through 3 iterations of the engine. Frostbite versus Frostbite 1 versus Frostbite 3 is a significant difference, both to the consumer and, more importantly, inside what it means for people to work in that environment. Frostbite today is a suite of tools like Photoshop, Premiere, or whatever. It's a program that you work inside with menus for animation, physics, levels, scripting. All this environment that gets updated more or less every week. There are about 75 people full-time today working on Frostbite, and they put out more or less a drop of Frostbite every month to the 15, 16 development teams that are using it. We always look at it that Frostbite 2 is equivalent to a Battlefield 3 to that team, and then Frostbite 3 is equivalent to a Battlefield 4 to that team. But then we have our premium service, which are the drops that come in between. So it's like a continually evolving engine, and it's clearly been a very important thing for us as a company. The final thing for us is that to be able to have 1,600 or 1,700 people trained on that engine means that when something goes wrong, and it always does in all game development, my CEO, Magnus, who runs DICE, can pick up the phone and call Arnie Flynn at BioWare and get him to put some of his guys on the problem for a few weeks. That collaboration is a gigantic win for us, to a point where people don't realize the importance of that. So it was a long answer, but that's Frostbite in a nutshell. Do you think we will see a lot more? And the guy's question is, and the question for the website is, do you think we will see a lot more cross-gen titles in the immediate future? And when do you think it will become viable for publishers to finally commit to next-gen only titles? And Patrick replied, ultimately, the volumes of hardware will dedicate that, so that consumers tell us when we can move on. Right now, it's always this way. In the first wave, where the majority of sales will still be on the old consoles. That's just how it is, because there's not enough installed based on the new machines yet. Historically, the first year out, most titles have been cross-gen. Then the second year, there's less and less. But in year 3, you'll probably see everything, apart from maybe 1 or 2 games. In the industry on that end. So I think it will take about 18 to 24 months to get to full Gen 4. There's a picture of Mirror's Edge too, in the first-person view. With white and black guys in some new-looking suit. and they show Faith putting the glove on with the detailed graphics that they always have. Next is, he asked the question again. Although your lineup was very impressive, I was surprised not to see more new IP reveals at the EA press conference. Is that something you're still committed to as a company? Well, we look at it as is a new IP important to EA? Absolutely. We are working on a lot of new things. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Are some of those things new things that rebirth of old existing brands, like Mirror's Edge? Yes. Are some of those things licensed properties like Star Wars? Yes. Do we have full stuff in development that we haven't announced that are new IPs? Absolutely. But I think if you look at our E3 lineup, we showed Titanfall, a brand new IP from Respawn, Mirror's Edge, which is a beloved return for many people, and Star Wars Battlefront, which I think is a march made in heaven. DICE building that games feels right. So those are the three main new things, coupled with a game in Battlefield 4, which I think is a really big update to what we had before and a big leap forward in gaming on console and PC. There's nothing on the E3 show floor like this. There's not a single game that can do what this does. And that dawned on me when I walked around yesterday. We are really alone with that type of game, and I don't think anyone else would try to make a game that complicated. That made me feel really good. On top of that, we have a new studio working on Need for Speed. You may say that it's the 18th or 19th version. And yes, it's called Need for Speed Rivals. This is an old article from 2013. So it's from E3 last year. And yes, I don't know, Mirror's Edge is probably coming out next year. It's in 2015. But Titanfall just came out already. EA's been busy a lot lately. But go play Rivals and talk to that team, and you'll see a passion and dedication to new and fresh things that I haven't seen in a long time on Need for Speed. So I feel really good about our lineup and feel like we have a lot of new games. Whatever those are built on intellectual properties that we own and have been out there in the past or not. That's probably less relevant. Again, we absolutely have completely new, wholly owned IPs that we have in development and will present when they're ready. Next question is, so one of your big surprises was DICE working on the new Star Wars Battlefront. I said that's pretty much a match made in heaven for fans. But those sorts of dream collaborations don't happen often. I'm glad you say that because it was almost not happening. It was just something as boring as resources and availability. The nice guys, Carl Magnus, Torsten, and Patrick Batch were talking, and I told them we were in dialogues with Disney over this deal, and that they just looked at me and said, "Why haven't you spoken to us? What are you doing? We want to make Battlefront." DICE is a very particular place, and they are very good, and they are very proud of what they do, and you don't really tell them what to do. I didn't anticipate them wanting to work on a license. There always been new IP or their own IP, but they were just like, we would kill to make this game, and the whole studio started talking about it. Like, please give us this game. And that's what I called Frank, giving you EA labels a boss, and I realized we had something here. If they want it that badly, then the game will be freaking awesome. We have to figure it out. So we figured it out. We got them the game, and it was that simple. They begged to do it. The opportunity was there, and that's exactly why you'll see a game that will be what it needs to be. Now go on to page 3. Can you give us an indication on which key talent are working on the game? You will have people that have worked on Battlefield for many years on it. You will have Patrick himself involved in it. These are experienced DICE people in Sweden building this game. This game is being built in Stockholm. When it comes to the actual game, their approach we're going to take is it's a rebirth of the brand. It is Star Wars Battlefront, done the DICE way. The original Battlefront games actually took a lot of inspiration from Battlefield, and they've been publicly open about that. As the guys said, the game is coming home. That's as much as we can say. And there's a little video clip of the teaser trailer. The guy on the website said on the article, and of course the other big EA surprise was Mirror's Edge 2. The original game didn't necessarily set the world on fire critically or commercially, and yet it remains very much in the public conscious. Is it fair to say then that this is a sequel that has been spawned by fan demand over everything else? Both yes and no. It is obviously something that we know a lot of people want, and fans have asked us for many years. But more importantly, it's a game that DICE wanted to build. They think that the first one was a great first attempt, but it didn't really deliver on the true vision that the guys had for that IP. What we managed to do was come up with an IP that looked unlike anything that you'd ever seen before. It had gameplay innovations unlike anything you'd ever seen before. It had a very memorable and iconic heroine in Faith. Faith is the name of the main character. Those three things by themselves should warrant success if executed well. And I think they saw it as a good first attempt. I'll be honest with you, we've been looking at Mirror's Edge for many years and had small prototype teams and incubations around what it could be, but it wasn't until Sarah Jansen, who is now the producer on it, came to me and called Carl Magnus Tordenson and said, "Listen, I have an idea for what this could be." She presented a vision so inspiring that we were like, we have to build this now. The interesting part is that it was a game that could only be built in Gen 4. And that was cool. I liked that because what they're doing, it's not possible on the current generation. So that's what I knew, that we had something, and spoke to EA. The support inside the whole company on Mirror's Edge has been tremendous. We sold about 2.5 million units with Mirror's Edge, and people haven't even blinked at it. Like, of course, we're going to make a new Mirror's Edge. The whole company has been behind it. Of course, we think that this will be successful, that people will love it, and that we're going to sell a lot more than we did with the first one. A lot of times, you've got to follow your gut and your heart rather than looking at everything that necessarily made sense on paper. I think that our fans are pleased to hear that, and I'm glad that I work for a company that can give us that opportunity. So, frankly, next question is, obviously you're not talking about details yet, but from what you have said, it sounds like you're going to make big changes to the original formula. Listen, if you do the same thing again, then it's not going to work. You have to be very, very honest with yourself and look at what went right and what went wrong. It's obvious that people loved the art direction, loved Faith, and loved the idea of what you did in the game. I think we missed completely on the game being too difficult. People keep falling down in the notion of constantly running away wasn't made greatly perceived. On top of that, there were a bunch of other problems with it. But again, we look at what's great with it. We do more of that, and we fix the things that were broken. And frankly, on top of that, even more so, we add new things to it. The innovation I can't talk about. I wish I could, because I'm excited about it. The idea and vision for the game, coupled with the timing, is what made it make sense. That's why we are making it. Frank Gaviu said this morning that Mirror's Edge 2 will be an open world game. Who knows? It may or may not. We're not talking about that. He did, obviously. What I can say is we're taking more of an action-adventure approach on it than maybe before. First person running predominantly. This will be more of an action-adventure game, but true to what the first one was to a large extent. I find myself going back to playing games that in my mind were so good 10 years ago, and I'm like, holy crap, was it really this? Because gaming is continuously evolving, and when I go back and play Mirror's Edge today, it feels old compared to what's out there today. And design approach and everything, there are still some fresh things in the way that it looks and feels. It still looks really good, actually, but it still feels a little bit old school on its game design and compulsion loops. So we have to bring that forward and change that format. I think the story is another part that could have been a lot better. We didn't deliver upon the fantastic world that we've created, and the story is a big part in a world like that. That's it for that interview. And it's got 11 comments. The first comment is by B. Mao. It's posted on June 24th, 2013, at 6:04 a.m. PST. Those Mirror's Edge comments worry me. This guy is Jimmy Luxury. Same date. I add 6:30, 4 a.m. PST. Good interview. He was surprisingly talkative. I wonder what Creton are up to if they aren't making the next Need for Speed. I'll be honest, BF3 was a good game, but I didn't feel it was as fun as BC2. If it can make Swiss cheese out of a small seaside village with my underslung grenade launcher, Oasis was such a good map in Battlefield 4, PF4, like I could be in BC2, Bad Company 2. I'll be quite happy. Like, next guy is Liam T, and he said, I think the shift from PS2 to PS3 and Xbox to Xbox 360 brought high def gaming. It went from standard def to high def, and that shift was big. Hardly any games are 1080p. Most are upscaled from 720p and lower. I can't wait to see some 1080p native next-gen games. Next guy is the last doo-doo. What defines a next-gen game for you? For the first time, so you're gonna have more meaningful and realistic dialogue with characters. This guy is Budge. He said, it means more to me than higher texture resolution and those things. It means that for the first time, so you're going to have more meaningful and realistic dialogue with characters. And I think it gets easier for us as creators to display emotion and those types of things. The Last of Us. The next guy, he said, the only difficult bit in Mirror's Edge was where you had to fight the chap on top of the container at the docks. Completed on 360. For some reason, I can't get past that point on PS3. It drove me crazy until I gave up. Just slightly off topic, but I must mention that I bought both copies second hand on the cheap. No money has gone to the developers, and for what I feel ashamed. Unless Dudo replied, it means more to me than higher texture resolution and those things. That it means that for the first time, so you can have more meaningful, realistic dialogue with characters. I think it gets easier for us as creators to display emotion and those types of things. The Last of Us, or a smaller game on a smaller budget. Telltale's The Walking Dead. I guess what DICE means is we're finally going to get soldiers shed a true HD terror. This guy is Dijon. Dijon said, interesting interview. He's saying a lot of the right things, but also a few concerning things. Like, I think we missed completely on the game being too difficult. People keep falling down in the notion of constantly running away wasn't maybe greatly perceived. I thought the difficulty was near perfect for the game, actually. And if he means running away during the small combat sections for hit and run attacks, fair enough. That was a bit of a choice. If he's implying that running away from combat entirely rather than beating up a load of armed guards isn't good, then I disagree. The last doo-doo replied, I thought the bit where you were running away from those ninja type enemies were brill. Brill is short for brilliant. This guy is Fitzgerald with a Superman photo. He is a Superman fan. Actually, quite enjoyed this interview. Seems honest and refreshing, especially coming from an EA employee. I need CVG to rope in Arian Flynn and get me some more info on Dragon Age. Next page. David Sanchez posted on June 25th, 2013 at 5:49 p.m. PST. Mirror's Edge is in any way hard on any difficulty. Why is it that we can't just make things challenging anymore? Why is repeatedly falling off a building or being taken down by opposing forces a bad thing? How the FK are people ever going to learn if we keep dumbing ST down for the sake of feeling accomplished? Why not actually hold yourself to a standard and have your audience accomplish something? This guy said the F word and the S word. The poop word. That's it for now about Star Wars Battlefront for you. That was an interview. That's it for all the Star Wars information for now. I hope that that we can choose different Jedis. Add a little bit, add some new Jedis to it. To Star Wars Battlefront. I would like them to throw in just have all the same characters and vehicles and all of that into this game. And this time around, do both trilogies in one game. Do episode 1 through 3, 1 through 6, I mean. Throw in the clones, stormtroopers, anything from that franchise. But of course, DICE will probably make it. And like you have, I wish they should have many weapons that you could choose from when you are a soldier character. When you play as a clone or a stormtrooper or a rebel or a bounty hunter, you should be able to choose different gun, and they should throw in the battlefield for customization thing, where you can like custom your own character. You make it add colors and tattoo things and all kinds of stuff. It would be interesting to see. And you could choose your costume. Choose different genders, like have a female gender or a male gender. Would be kind of cool to have too. So it'd be kind of interesting to see somebody play a female character, not a female Jedi, but like I know they had a female sniper in the Battlefront games. But I just hope they have a mixture of Call of Duty and a mixture of Battlefield and Bad Company ideas into the Battlefront game, which will make it look pretty awesome. And of course, there will be a 1080p high definition for it. Like top of the line, it would be. It'll look as good as Mirror's Edge 2 and as good as Bad Company and as good as the Battlefield 4 game. Battlefield 4 graphics are amazing. They look really good. And I hope that... I wish Star Wars Battlefront would come out now. I mean, it should come out during the summertime. I think it should. I don't think I should wait until holiday 2014. Which, I don't know what holiday 2014. And no, it's not going to come out in December. Games never come out in December. Games never come out. They never come out after Christmas. Never. They always come out during the holidays. During Christmas. To me, like it'll be like come out during fall, October, November, December. Somewhere around there it should come out. If I take it should it should be released when in November like they did for Battlefield 4. Because Mirror's Edge will probably come out then too. I don't know though. I'm looking forward to this though. And my beloved Battlefront is back. I was kind of wondering when they would make that game again. That game should have been out already. I know they're trying to call it a reboot, and it is the third installment to the Battlefront game. It is the third Battlefront game. It's not a reboot though. I hope that the reboot will be better than the first one. I mean, it'll probably have the... It'll probably be episode 1, 2, and 3 is the first part of the game. And then the second part of the game is episode 4, 5, and 6. And then if DICE makes a second Battlefront game, it'll be called Star Wars Battlefront 2, which will take place during episodes 7, 8, and 9. Would be for me. That would be the second one that, if DICE ever made a sequel to their Battlefront game. But we have to make sure that the first one is successful and good. And I hope you guys will make Star Wars Battlefront happen. Can we do this? Can we have a petition for this game to come out this year? I'm sure there'll be more information as the months come on. I mean, during the summer, like June or something, there'll be more information on Star Wars Battlefront then. So I'll wait then for more information. There's not a lot of information on this game. I hope that it'll have a good multiplayer and a good campaign, single player campaign. And I wish I hope that Ghost Rebel will have this game. I do a walkthrough of this Battlefront, of this DICE's Star Wars Battlefront game. I'm hoping he will, but I'm sure he will. But he pretty much plays 100 games a year. He plays a lot of games. I watch him a lot, so I seem to talk a lot about him. I really like to use... Okay, I'll admit, I'm lazy to do my own walkthroughs. So I use other people's walkthroughs, because I'm too lazy to make my own. I really can't make my own. Like, I don't play anymore, and I only play when people come over and hang out with me, and stuff like that, you know. It's very difficult for me to get out in the public to meet girls or introduce or make new friends. I can't go out when the weather is too cold. It's too crazy outside lately. And yeah, it affects my breathing a little easily, I guess, but hey, at least I enjoy making these videos for you guys. I want you to subscribe to my channel. I want you to please rate. I want you to comment, like, favorite, subscribe, view, opinions, and thoughts. I hope you like it and enjoy it for your viewing pleasure, guys and girls, and that interview was a pretty good interview. Even though it's a little old, you know. I mean, that doesn't matter. It's new to me. At least. I think I've read this article in a video before, but I don't remember. But, oh well. I did it because of Star Wars Battlefront. Oh, I'm going to call the title of the video is called Star Wars Update 11. Star Wars DICE's Star Wars Battlefront News 3 Part 2 is what I'll be calling it. And okay, stay tuned for more, guys and girls. And drink some hot chocolate. And I'll see you all later.